you ever miss the old days?
I don't play video games anymore. I don't have the desire to. And the reason I'm telling you this is the contrast with what I'm going to tell you next. I started Twin Galaxies, not because I had a scoreboard in mind, not because I wanted to make a video game capital of the world, not because I wanted to make a Hall of Fame. I started Twin Galaxies as an excuse to be able to play video games all day and all night if I wanted to. And did I want to? You bet your life I did. I played video games with the 15-year-olders till 3 in the morning every night, you know. I was there shoulder to shoulder, loving video games as much as anybody out there who's listening to this broadcast. I love video games so much that I made every excuse possible to be completely surrounded by them forever. That's why the scoreboard happened. That's why Twin Galaxies happened. That's why all this stuff happened. When we went on the road as the U.S. national video game team back in '83, we wouldn't get very far driving that day because we would have to stop at every arcade to play every video game in it all the way. That's how much I love video games. The one thing that I like to say is that I believe that I am... I jokingly have referred to myself as the patron saint of the video game age. And that's kind of a funny thing to claim. And I say that sort of tongue-in-cheek. But who knows? Because I embodied, as much as anybody in the history of gaming, that level of devotion and that level of fixation that any person ever had playing video games in any country at any time. So that's the huge contrast you see. Who knows what the change was? Probably maybe spiritual evolution or something. But the person I was 30 years ago, the huge, ferocious, intent fixation on video game playing, with who I am now, it's like two different people. So I've gone from there to here, and it was wonderful. So did I love video game playing? It was beyond love. We couldn't drive a mile back in the old days without stopping at a video game arcade. It was beyond loving video games. It was an ecstatic joy that I still remember back in those early days. And that's the main thing I remember about Twin Galaxies. When it first opened up for the first 2 years, for the 2 years it was like a wonderland, a dream. It was so much fun that I can't begin to convey to you how much fun it was just to play Gorf and Galaxian, Centipede and Tempest and Frogger and Defender and Robotron, all this stuff nonstop. I just didn't have enough hours. I didn't have enough quarters or tokens to be able to play all the games I wanted to play. And everybody out there listening, if it sounds like I'm describing you, the viewer, it's probably because I am. Because I was as much like you as anybody possibly could have been. I've changed, and that's why I'm prepared to move on. But that's the way life is. You're supposed to change and focus on other things because that's how you grow, that's how you get better. That's how you learn more things.
What is your favorite video game?
So what you're really asking...
Stranded Island. You have one video.
You're stealing my gambit here. You're stealing that, Michael. Okay, so what you're really asking is, what do I want to get stranded on an island with? A beautiful blonde-haired woman or a video game?
That's an easy question to most of our
Well, that's an
viewers.
easy question. But that's an obviously easy question. But if it had to be the video game, would it be Make Tracks? Would it be Centipede? Would it be Miss Pac-Man? Would it be Crazy Taxi? Would it be Hydra Thunder? Would it be Sonic? Would it be? I think Centipede would rile me up too much because it's just too fast. You put your nerves on edge. You know the real fast ones like Robotron or Centipede. By the time you played 10 games, your nerves are on edge. And if I'm on that island, I'd be awake all night looking at the coconuts because I wouldn't be able to sleep because get my nerves completely riled up. Make Tracks is kind of cool. I've always loved Make Tracks, as historically people know. So maybe it could be Make Tracks. Maybe it could be Miss Pac-Man. Maybe if I was on that stranded island, I'd really get into the groove of it and see if I could do the world record. And so can you imagine being on an island with yourself and just a Miss Pac-Man game, playing for 100 years, 10 games a day or whatever it is. Later on it'd be less games per day because you start playing 3-hour games.
I think I've had that dream actually.
Well, that was you. I couldn't figure out who that was on the island. But yeah, so I think that it probably wouldn't be Centipede or Robotron, even though they're a lot of fun, because after a few games, I mean, you wouldn't be able to sleep, you know. I don't know if you have that experience, but some games really rile you up.
Is it safe to say that now that you're retired from Twin Galaxies, you won't be going for any world records of your own?
Maybe someday I'll go back and take the Make Tracks world record. Maybe the only time I'll go back to play a game might be just to take back the one that I owned when it all began, which was the Make Tracks world record, which I owned for probably a couple of years before someone broke it. But I haven't in all these years seriously attempted to take back the world record. But maybe I'll do that as my last gasp for gaming someday in the future.
Anything else in King of Kong particularly, or in any of the other programs you've been showcased in, that you'd like to set the record straight about?
Oh no, I'm very, very comfortable with how things have turned out. There's not too much I need to say. No big wrongs I need to set right. No axes to grind. No things that I try to prove or anything. I'm very satisfied with how Twin Galaxies is going to be there to support the whole world of gaming, and that is going to be a beautiful feature for gamers because Twin Galaxies has got a lot of good people coming forward. And some of the best people haven't even, maybe some of the best people aren't even born yet. That generation of people who are going to take over the reins of Twin Galaxies who aren't even born yet, they're going to be very devoted because they'll have that huge historical legacy that they will revere, they will grow up revering, and they'll be able to take it and lead it into the future. And that's what this is. Me passing the baton on Twin Galaxies to the next generation of people is just the beginning of Twin Galaxies being handed off from generation to generation to generation. People just dumping their spirit and their love for it and their devotion and their wisdom, their knowledge, their skill into Twin Galaxies and filling up that balloon bigger and bigger, and then giving that away as a gift as they pass it on to the next generation. So what did I do? I was just a caretaker. I was just a temporary custodian. I just happened to be the one who did it. And I passed it on.
Do you have anything else to add about your music career?
You know what's interesting about my music career? After all these different movies came out that I'm singing in, like King of Kong and Chasing Ghosts and the VBS special with a Dell Lounge and MTV, people want to buy my CD. I was just absolutely stunned by that. So I get that regularly, almost every day sometimes. You know, people want to buy my songs or buy my CD. So I'm very inspired, and I'm actually flattered that, because when I play those songs, you know, I'm just playing an acoustic guitar, and they're not hearing the huge arrangements that I'm hearing in my head. I'm just singing blah 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 and guitar acoustic sound, but I'm hearing strings and orchestrations and piano and background vocalists and you know, bass lines and drum lines. So I'm kind of thinking, like, why do these guys like this? This stuff is what they're hearing is just a skeleton of what I hopefully am going to be able to do. So I'm really appreciative of the fact that people have given me such spiritual, divine, inspirational support by complimenting me on my music and saying, we want to buy your music. So that's very exciting. So I really appreciate the public being so kind to me. And often I think, they're just being kind. So that's nice. Whether they're being kind or they really want it or not, I appreciate it for whichever it is. That's very good.
There may be several things that are misportrayed in King of Kong. But at the end of King of Kong, it is stated by one of the classic gamers that if Walter Day has one flaw, it's that he is simply too nice of a person. And after having met you, I would say that that is one thing that is absolutely, definitely true.
Very kind.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.